I think he's the best horse in the race by a considerable amount. I just question his jumping, obviously, and this is the ultimate test of jumping it.
Are you looking past Lulamba, Michael?
Yes, I am.
Are you?
What good horses has he beat? Not too many.
I think he's just so excited. And we talked about Constitution Hill as being a sort of public horse. There's an element that Harry brings the neutral into the game.
I think you'd be silly to just completely look over Galopin's shop.
You've got to admire him, haven't you? What a horse. I know the owner, he's a character as well.
This is going to be 3 miles 2 of absolutely unrelenting jumping and pace. It's going to be a brutal race.
Hi, I'm Alan Brazil, and this is the Cheltenham Preview with talkSPORT, sponsored by Ladbrokes. To help me look ahead to this year's festival, I'm joined by racehorse owner, former Ballon d'Or winner Michael Owen, our very own Cheltenham winning jockey Lizzie Kelly, and the voice of horse racing on the talkSPORT network, a bit of a balloon himself, Rupert Ding Dong Bell. How are we, guys? All good?
Yeah, good.
Michael, not long to go now. I can't believe another year's gone. Have you finished all your studying yet? Are we've got plenty of winners?
Well, as you know, the flat game is my game, so I need to listen to experts. That's why I'm sat here today. I'll give my
Lizzie,
my 2 penneth worth. But no, I take an interest in the jumps, and I've been to a couple of preview nights, so listen to what the experts had to say. So yeah, I've got my own ideas on what's going to win.
Excellent. It's amazing, a year. It just goes like that. Before we know, I always think of Cheltenham, wonderful, and then we're into Newmarket, aren't we? We're into, well, Donny first, then Newmarket, we're into the Craven, and then before you know it's the Guineas.
It's the best time of the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you've got Cheltenham to look forward to, all our horses at home, a lot of our babies broken in, galloping away
How
now.
many now, Michael?
We're
in the
training
yard?
nearly 140.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we're growing nicely.
Lovely.
So that's exciting. It's just an exciting time of the year. I always think Cheltenham is where the season kicks off, or where the year kicks off, let's say. So plenty to look forward to after this one.
Brilliant. Well, we hope it's a great year. I mean that. Lizzie, how are we going to do this year? It looks an open Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Are the bookies going to come out on top, or is it a chance for the punters?
I think the punters have a really good chance this year. I think there are like a few races where you sort of think, I think the favourites an absolute shoe-in, but there's plenty of open races, even at the championship level. Like I think the Gold Cup's pretty open. I think the Stayers is pretty open. And obviously you've got all the handicaps as well, and trying to find something at maybe a bigger price, like an each way or something like that, is always a bit of fun as well.
Yeah. Rupert, you've been very busy lately, joining many trainers all around the country, over the sea as well. How do you see it? First of all, the ground, the weather, the ground, what's that going to be like?
Well, as you know, I live in the Cotswolds, Alan, and,
Yes.
and Broadway is getting ready for your annual state visit. Luckily, I've given up my job as your resident taxi driver. Those days are past. It's been very wet, but I think we're now going into a dry period. So I think we're going to end up with good to soft. But the interesting thing is, what we're also seeing is a slight resurgence in the quality of the British horses. So it won't just be an Irish dominance as we've seen in recent years. I do think we have the prospect of, Dan Skelton, Nicky Henderson and other trainers, Ben Pauling, making an impact.
Ben's in great form.
So, and obviously I think they look stronger, but Willie Mullins is going to have 100 horses. I think Gordon Elliott's bringing over 60 horses. I mean, it just shows you the strength and depth that they've got, but I do think the quality of the British horses is as strong as it has been for many a long year.
OK, let's get into the feature races with Ladbrokes. Head to ladbrokes.com or download the Ladbrokes app for all your Cheltenham needs. OK, I want to start with day 1 and the wide open champion hurdle. The big news is Constitution Hill's withdrawal, of course. We had the unfortunate injury to a horse I love in Sir Gino, both with Nicky Henderson, of course. Nicky made the right choice, not running Constitution Hill, yes or no? Michael, I happen to think he has. What about yourself?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think this horse is it's a public-owned horse really now, isn't it? Of course, Michael Buckley owns the horse, but he's too much of a public horse for you to be taking any risks. And of course, with what's happened in previous times, with all the world watching, if he were to do the unthinkable and race and fall again, then you're just leaving yourself open to, and the sport open to a whole lot of trouble. So personally, I think it's right.
You're so right. It's really hard. I think some people have found it really hard to say, like, why can't he run? He's still a really capable individual. But I think there's definitely a case to be made for the fact that this is Cheltenham, like all eyes are on racing, and the right decision has to be made.
And we would have been defending the indefensible. As simple as that. Because how would we have said if something awful had happened at Constitution Hill and said, well, why did he run after falling 3 previous times from 4 starts, and one of them, in the other one, he was pulled up. Yes, he was brilliant at Southall, and he electrified the crowd then, but actually from welfare and the perception of the sport is so important to the way that jump racing has to secure its future. And if something had happened at Constitution Hill, that would have dominated the talk for the next 3 days, where now we can concentrate on what should be 4 fantastic days racing.
And we wish Sergino well as well. Just going on to Southall, it just shows you what a crowd were there, Michael. Phenomenal, wasn't it? People had tears in their eyes.
It was incredible. Nice for people to see on a dark midweek to see a superstar. And of course, Constitution Hill's target's going to be raised. He's going to be going for bigger and better races. But what a lovely sight to see him happy and enjoying his race and streaking clear. I just thought it was great for racing. And as I go back to it, this is not no ordinary horse. You know, people are invested in this horse. The public know about this horse, and you know, it was just lovely to see him bounce back. We all love a story where they have a little bit of a dip and you come back.
Michael, how good was that run on the flat?
I mean, people talk about already him going into group races. And I even heard some people saying he ran up to, you know, marks around the 100, 105. I don't think it was anything like that. I think you're talking sort of mid-90s to late 90s type of run. Of course, he'd be competitive in some of those big races, but it won't stop us questioning what will happen once he meets some of the real good flat staying horses.
And he's 9 years of age.
Exactly, yeah.
Which, you know, yes, he looked impressive, but 9 in flat racing terms is a geriatric.
Yeah. No, I agree. We shall see. Right, back to champion hurdle. Rupert, you've been speaking to the new Lions trainer who's got a big chance. Dan Skelton, who's great. Let's hear what Dan had to say.
Amazing to win it. We feel like we've got a great competitor. We feel like we've got a horse that's got the right attitude, the quality that he needs. There's a lot of boxes ticked. It's also a very good race. So you know, we've got to be very respectful of our opposition, and just hope we best them on the day.
Obviously, the fighting fit didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
Was that a blip in many ways?
Yeah, of course it was a blip. You know, whenever you end up on the floor, it's a blip. But luckily, he was fine afterwards. We learned a little bit about him that day in terms of his speed. He can go quick, and we were never going anywhere else probably apart from the international, which we took in on trials day. Showed a good turn of foot that day. His hurdling was efficient. We feel like we're coming into it in very good shape.
Dan Skelton there, Rupert. Off camera, you're chatting to him. Does he fancy?
He does. I was at, he came to my golf club, Stratford, the other day to do a preview, and he was very bullish. And obviously now a favourite. They've come up with the 5-day decks. There has been a supplementary, and Paul Nicholls has supplemented a horse for the race. But I suppose with the fact that Constitution Hill isn't a no Sergino, he is the best potentially around. But I think he's vulnerable.
Who? Brighter days ahead?
I'm in love with Golden Ace. I mean, that was such an. You don't roll your eyes up at me there.
No. I think value for money. You're right, but he won the race when was it the State Man fell with 8 lengths behind.
Yeah, but State Man's not in the race.
No.
So what do you, if you're looking at what happened last year and what she's done this year, she got clobbered by Sergino at Kempton, but that's a different race. This now feels like, and Jeremy Scott's in very bullish mood. She looks to me a value bet in the race when there are question marks about some of the others. Now, Lizzie might disagree.
Lizzie, what about, well, first of all, what Rupert's point, and Lossiemouth, if she runs.
Yeah, I think the Lossiemouth question is still up for debate, whether she comes to the Champion Hurdle or whether she stays in the mares. Ruby Walsh will tell you that he thinks that Lossiemouth is more of a 2.5 miler, so that would push her over to the mares really. But I don't know whether she'd beat the New Lion, but I think that should she not run, that the New Lion will win this almost by default. I think that there's a lack of any competition for the New Lion this year. I think Golden Ace will finish in the first 3, definitely, but I think that kind of top quality, and actually the New Lion, like apart from the fall up at Newcastle,
Not
I
done
thought
a lot.
yeah, no, exactly. No, I don't think he has. Like, I think his run at Cheltenham in the International last time was perfectly acceptable. Yeah, you know, he didn't get too far away from the turn behind him. One of them was Brentford Hope, who's been retired since. But I can't remember what the other one was. But, like, it turned into a sprint, and he was well able to be quick. And Harry Skelton really looked after him going into the last. Like, he wasn't sending him. He was really checking his momentum going into the last to make sure he got over it. As, of course, you know, you would in that circumstance. But I think there's plenty to like about him. I think, you know, it's a shame in a way that the race that he won last year, the Turners, like that form sort of doesn't look quite as good as we thought it might have done at the time with Final Demand and Yellow Clay. But overall, I think he's the winner.
Michael, Brighter Days Ahead or New Line or even Lossiemouth? You know, I'd love Lossiemouth to win again, but
yeah, I don't think she will.
Longer.
I don't think she will. I'm told that she's not in the greatest of form back at home, not looking too well, is what I heard in one of these preview nights. The New Lion for me is obviously the one to beat. Do we think the New Lion would have beaten Golden Ace if it had stayed up in Newcastle in the fighting fifth? I mean, it's not guaranteed, is it?
No.
I think Golden Ace is the each-way bet.
Yeah,
That's the value of the race.
Golden Ace. And the other one that's interesting is Alexei, who won the Greatwood Hurdle. Trying to do a Rooster Booster looks to me good value. If you're looking for a horse when you're questioning at a decent price. But a Golden Ace, I just think her record is as good as anything around. Okay, but she did what you're supposed to do, and that's jump.
Yeah. And a lot of people say that Golden Ace's preparation wasn't perfect last season, and she won it by default in a way. But I'm told that the preparation is better now.
Terrible form last season. They were in appalling form heading into the festival.
So a better preparation this season. I think Golden Ace is the each way bet.
Okay, picks. What do you reckon, Lizzie?
So my winner is New Lion, and my value bet is Golden Ace.
Rupert?
Well, obviously, I've laid my colours firmly to the mast. It's Golden Ace, but I do think Alexei is worth following each
And
way.
Michael?
I totally agree with Lizzie.
Lizzie?
Yeah.
There you go. Brilliant. Now, I do love a Tuesday at Cheltenham. For me, it's the best. But Friday is Gold Cup Day. It's magnificent. Michael, on to the big one on Friday, the Gold Cup. What a day it could be for our pal Harry Redknapp. He can't sleep at night. He can't stop talking about it. And my fingers are crossed.
It's so exciting, isn't it? I mean, I remember all those years ago when I had a horse that was running at the top level, and you can't sleep all year, let alone the night before. It's so exciting having a good horse going for all the big races. And he's put a lot of time, effort, money into the game, Harry, and deserves a good horse. And it looks like he's got one. I mean, that was such a great race for the neutral in particular in the King George at
Brilliant
Campton.
race, wasn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. Anything could have won it.
I must admit, a bad Gallic Warrior, I did.
Yeah, I'm the same. But I still had a smile for Harry.
Well, I spoke to Harry loads, but let's hear, Rupert, you caught up with Harry. Let's hear what Harry Redknapp, of course, owner of the Jukebox Man, said to Rupert Bell.
And he's got that look about him, the arrogance about him that is, look, I'm good, you know, this is me. And so, yeah,
If he was a footballer, who would he be?
I said he'd probably be a Julian Dix or someone who played for me, because when you go in that box, he'll kick you, he'll bite you, you're not allowed, you wouldn't want to walk, you wouldn't get out there alive if you walked in there. But he's got great ability like Dixie had. And but Dixie, you know, he'd give you a kick as well, or bite you. One day he didn't bite you, but he'd certainly kick you. So, but yeah, real good ability, but an edge to him.
So I'm going to talk to Harry on the Thursday of Cheltenham. So I'm really looking forward to that. Rupert, what was the impression you got? It's just nervous, great to have a runner, or a serious chance?
I think he's just so excited. And he knows, we talked about Constitution Hill as being a sort of public horse. There's an element that Harry brings the neutral into the game, and that's why I think it's so important. Just want to know, did you ever play against Julian Dix, Michael?
I did, yeah.
And do you get what Harry is saying?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. When I first signed for Liverpool, actually, he was at Liverpool. But then he moved back to West Ham, I think. And I played against him then, yeah.
Did he kick you?
Well, you stay on the other side of the pitch when you're playing against Julian Dix.
Do you know what? He had a pub in my local village in Suffolk. And I went to see him one night, not really knowing him. He hardly said a word. And I thought, how can you be a publican if you don't talk to the punters? But by all accounts, when it comes to kicking out time, no one argues, they get out.
But you see what Harry made. This horse is a fighter and showed it in that King George. Stuck his head.
What a race.
And Ben Jones has had from a jockey's point of view, Lizzie, just to see him enjoying himself and riding so well. It's a big year for him, though, and the pressure will be on him.
Yeah, the pressure's on. I mean, I think to have a horse run in a Gold Cup, like to be involved in a horse in a Gold Cup is an achievement in itself, no matter what the result is, because those kind of that calibre of horse is so difficult to come across. And for Ben Jones to have a ride in a Gold Cup at his stage of his career, where it's, he's quite young and it's not really has kicked off now, I suppose. But like last season, he'd given his right arm for these kind of horses and these kind of rides, and like it's going to be absolutely fantastic for all of them to just be involved. But the fact that he goes there with what you could argue a live chance, it's brilliant. It's great.
What do you do if you're Paul Townend? Galloping Deschamps or Gallic Warrior? I backed. That was the great story, Rupert, when we backed Brazil in the Fred Winter, wasn't it? When he beat Gallic Warrior, jumped the last, beat him a short head. But I know a lot of people were gutted because he jumped way out to his right, didn't he? And let Brazil up the inside, JP's horse. But I thought Gallic Warrior in Ireland ran a blinder, just ran out of petrol a little bit. He'll be fitter, he'll be stronger for the Gold Cup. But galloping, I listened to Willie Mullins just yesterday. Do not discount Gallopin, even at his age. Do not discount him.
I think Lizzie needs to talk about Galopin Deschamps because that is her equine crush.
Yeah, he for me is very much still in the race, so to speak, literally. I think there's loads to like about him. I feel like last year he was obviously heading towards trying to get a third Gold Cup, and the ground came up too quick for him. In my opinion, he just looked unhappy from start to finish, and he still managed to finish second. I think then for me, like I wouldn't put a line through his run at the DRF. I thought it was an okay run, but again, like he didn't look comfortable. But it was like underwater 2 days beforehand, and he still managed to finish third. Look, you only have to look at how State Man got on last year. If he hadn't have fallen at last, he would have won. And everyone was discounting State Man going into Cheltenham last year. And I think you'd be silly to just completely look over Galopin Deschamps. And in answer to your question, I think that Paul Townend will continue to ride him. I don't think he'll go for Gallic
What about
Warrior.
Factor File? He's not been entered. They can get him in the race, can't they? It's going to be a few quid, but not for JP. Do we put him in it, or will he go for the Ryanair?
I think he'll go for the Ryanair.
Michael?
Yeah, I think he'll go for
And
the
he's got
Ryanair
Spillane's Towers, JP, who's not without a chance either, from Jimmy Mangers, the Irish horse. So, he's already got one, and I think it's almost a shoe-in if he goes for the Ryanair. And
JP's he's in great form at the moment. He's having winners everywhere.
Well, he's got New Lion, obviously that's his, and then he's got, plenty of chances. But Paul Townend, I saw him when I went to the Ireland, and I'm just name-dropping him, so, But
No, I just love the fact that you managed to name one of the horses. Has he got anything else?
No, what she's trying to do is expose my lack of research, because she can't believe that she's turned up with pages and I've just turned up with nothing.
Nothing.
This is what I have
Don't
to
bring
deal
me
with.
into the conversation.
Michael, this is what I have to deal with. It's not fair. Anyway, but I do think Paul Townend won't desert Galopin Deschamps. There's no way. I think he knows to regain and do a quarto star would be something special.
Well, Lizzie, I mean, I guess Ruby Walsh did something the same, didn't he, with Quarter when Denman was around. I suppose he could have. If you're on the champion, you know, and I know he's not the reigning champion, but it's very hard to desert a horse that's give you those days in the past, or is it not? Is it just a cold decision?
I wouldn't be capable of being so cold. Like, I think that there's loads to. I think Paul Townend has a relationship with this horse, and if he chooses him and they get beaten by Gaelic Warrior, I think that that's something you can live with.
Yeah.
I think if you choose Gaelic Warrior and you get beaten by your old mate, that would hurt more.
Yeah.
So I would always personally stick with that horse that I'd had that success with.
Just one more, we shouldn't forget last year, Django Bay charging up the Cheltenham Hill to win. Do we give Django a chance? Rupert?
I think he's got a touch of the Mike Bites, who is, I think, yes, he can stay, but I don't think in the end he might just not have he won't have the Julian Dix about him.
The class to get
Well, I'm not saying he hasn't got the class, because from an Arkle to win the Gold Cup would be an extraordinary achievement, but something's nagging at me about Django Bay, and I'm not sure what it is, and I may be proved wrong, but I think there are others who might just have the fight, because this is going to be 3 miles of absolutely unrelenting jumping and pace. It's going to be a brutal race.
That's where I think Gallopin's got. If Gallopin's 110%, you know he's going to get up that hill. So, Michael, what about Django?
Well, I thought it was more remarkable that he won the Arkle because he's not a 2-miler. So I thought that was just an incredible performance last year. I think he's got a big chance. I mean, is it the most open Gold Cup in a long time?
So.
I mean, you could make a case for half a dozen easily.
Yeah, which is great for us, isn't it? Right, pick time. Lizzie.
So my winner is Galopin de Champs, but my value bet is Django Bay.
Ooh, Rupert.
I am going for Haiti Couleurs, Rebecca Curtis's runner.
Where'd that come from?
Well, because you didn't ask me about it. And
You've not even mentioned, just because you fancy, Rebecca, you've not even mentioned it.
I fancy the horse because he's won a Welsh national, he's won an Irish national, he will stay. The only negative is if it comes up a bit quick, and that may be the negative for Galopin de Champs, but I think, as I've said, it's going to be an unrelenting gallop, and we know Haiti Couleurs, who will probably be setting it, is capable of doing it. So that's why.
OK, Rupert, but what's your value? What's your value bet?
The JP McManus horse, Spillane's Tower, I think, again, will stay. Jimmy Mangan's only got a small group of horses. He's a Grand National winning trainer. I think Spillane's Tower is more than capable of getting into the first 3.
He's very loyal, JP, isn't he, when it comes to horses? Very, very loyal.
And as I say, Jimmy Mangan knows what the time of day. He's a canny operator.
Yeah.
And I think this horse might be running up the hill, but maybe not quick enough to win it.
OK, Rupert, nice one. Michael, who's your pick and who's your each way?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Django Bay. I think it's such an open race.
Red and white colours, yeah, Liverpool colours.
Yeah, did well to win the Arkle. Sure, this step up and trip is going to suit. He's got course form, so in an open race, I'm going to go for him. And I'm going to, if I had an each way or an outside, I'd probably go for Haiti Couleurs as well. He could be a very, very good handicapper. But if he makes a step up, he could be, he could give them something to think about.
There you go, Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or winner. Right, let's look ahead. Another big, big race. The breaking news this week is that last year's winner, Marine Nationale, is out, Rupert. So how does that open it right up for Madsborough?
No, I don't think it does.
Right.
But I'm bitterly disappointed Marine Nationale's not in the race. Obviously, it's so hard. Something can go wrong. Barry Connell's only got about 17 horses. The horses are treated magnificently there, but then just something happens. The frustrations of training racehorses. So, and he did and was desperate to try and defend his crown, but it does leave it open. I think there are question marks about Madsborough. I think there are. It's going to be a fascinating race, but
it's a great race, the Queen Mother, isn't it?
It's when you see 2-mile chasers. It's a bit like, I don't know, what would be the equivalent of 5 furlong sprint, but the horses going for that with full tilt into the last, charging up that hill. It is it gets me, make you stop loving the flat if you know.
I won't go that far.
But it's just amazing.
We go back to Moscow Flyer and days like that, don't we?
Well, I go back even further, but you know, so I go. Come on, you can go. You and I can go back to the 80s. But the 90s, there were great, you know, Pearly Man. Some of these other horses who were around back before you were even born, Lizzie, it's all right. But the 2 mile division has always got me very excited. And it does look, I think, there are question marks about Matchborough. Lo de Sud is an interesting runner, and there are 1 or 2 others who I think deserve plenty of respect.
Michael, will you be on Matchborough?
Yeah, I think he's the best horse in the race by a considerable amount. I just question is jumping, obviously, and this is the ultimate test of jumping, isn't it? At that speed, championship race. Lizzie, I'm sort of bowing to your knowledge here. I want to say Matchborough, but I'm just nervous about
Lizzie,
jumping.
can you make a bad mistake in the Queen Mother and still get up to win?
Well, he didn't last year in the Arkle. That found him out, didn't it? And I personally feel like favourites actually have a terrible record in this race. And I think I don't really like him. Like, I find his jumping, although his jumping was much improved at Leopardstown last time, and they put cheap pieces on him and they rode him much more aggressively, and that all seemed to work. So if they're going to do that, then like great. But I just think I would be happy to look elsewhere. I think it's an open race.
Mind you, that he was brilliant last time out.
He was,
so that would give you great confidence saying, I know Cheltenham's Cheltenham and they'll go quicker, but the way he jumped last time out to win easily.
Yeah, like there was definitely much more improvement, but I just wouldn't want my money on him. And I think if you're gonna try and have a bet in the race, like, I wouldn't be backing him at the price. Like, especially now Marine Nationale has come out. Like, I just think I'd just rather watch it than back him. Like, I like Lo de Sud personally. I think he's got to improve. He's not quite good enough. He's not as good as Matchborough, but I feel like he's a bit more reliable. Like, he's quite hardened, like battle hardened. He jumps pretty well. Like, he obviously won at Cheltenham earlier in the year. That was a really good victory. Like, he is limited, but I think the other horse you have to mention is also Quilixios, who could have potentially beat Marine Nationale last year.
A decent price.
But he fell at the last. The question mark with him is that we've not seen him since, which is obviously a little bit unnerving if you're wanting to back him. Like, you'd have liked to have seen him come out and maybe like win a little race somewhere. But I think if Henry de Bromhead was able to bring him back in really good form, we know that Henry can do that. Like, he's a bit of a master at Cheltenham. And so, yeah, I think Quilixios is a really decent option in there as well.
Michael, you're a Lo de Sud fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I've already spoke to the gaffer.
Have you?
The boss has given us a rundown, but yeah, I mean, it is a competitive race. And as I say, I think Molesborough is probably the standout horse, but the big question mark is jumping. That would be, Lo de Sud would be the obvious one. If I was going to have an outsider, I'd probably go Irish Panther. Would be my outside bet.
Here comes Brown Panther.
Exactly.
Rupert, John Bon. So we're saying John Bon won't go for this race.
I suppose maybe the Ryanair, but I'm in the Lo de Sud camp. And the other thing, Dan Skelton has kept the horse fresh, says he runs well when fresh, and he hasn't had a long, tough campaign. So I think that's a real positive. So the horse should be able to deliver his best. The other one I think at a big price is Captain Guinness, who's got good Queen Mother Champion Chase form. It's a huge price. Okay, he's now, quite old, but if there are question marks about many of these, and Matchborough's jumping and Lo de Sud, people are going to make crab his form, Captain Guinness has got it in the book. So at a big price, I'm offering that as my each way, along with Lo de Sud as my.
Well, we're going to get the tips now. So let's start with Lizzie.
Yeah, so I've gone Lo de Sud to win and Quilixios as value bet.
Thank you, Lizzie. Rupert, who do you fancy?
Well, much to my surprise, I'm going to agree with Lizzie. Lo de Sud, I do think a huge chance, and then as I mentioned, I'm certainly going to give Captain Guinness a big each way play.
Each way. Michael?
Matchborough being the best horse in the race, and then Irish Panther each way.
Okay, let's round up the feature races with the Stayers Hurdle on Thursday. Tia Poo will go out again favourite, won't he? Michael, upset last year, were we?
Yes, absolutely. You would think that Gordon Elliott's going to have a good Cheltenham this year. He's built his squad back up. And he appears the one to beat. But I'm going to go against him this time, I think. I'm going to go for Bob Ollinger. And quite confidently as well. I've heard a lot of good reports on Bob Ollinger at the moment.
Yeah, he'd be getting on a bit now, wouldn't he, Bob Ollinger? But he's one of the favourites for Cheltenham. But just on Gordon Elliott, Rupert, I like Gordon. I had a couple of drinks with him one day after racing. Good as gold, really nice guy. And as Michael said, I think he brings a good team over.
And
maybe not classy, but numbers.
I think he's bringing over around about 30. Obviously, we know he's been rebuilding his yard. And he was so frustrated last year. He was knocking at the door with a stack full of runners, and he eventually won the last race of the meeting with Woodhoo. And, so that was a bit of a relief. But I think he does believe he's got a really strong team, whether it be novice hurdlers, and obviously in this particular race, he looks to have a strong hand as well. So I do expect him to he could have 2 or 3 winners with a much stronger team. And as I say, he's bringing the horse boxes are being fired up, ready to go across. He's taking a lot from his yard. Yeah. And as you say, he looks in a very confident place. And Jack Kennedy, if you thought, is the toughest jockey around out there and is an extraordinary character, bounced back from more injuries than you can shake a stick at, and yet keeps on wanting to ride fearlessly. So they're a good combination.
Lizzie, just a quick one on the horses going on the boat coming across the Irish Sea. I take it the vast majority take it in their stride, but 1 or 2 maybe not like it.
I think horses are sort of so well travelled now and from such a young age as well, and people practice it with young horses as well.
Yeah.
So by the time they're actually having to get on a lorry and go on a boat and all the rest of it, then they've become quite well versed. And yeah, of course, you still do have horses that will travel badly, but you just have to kind of mitigate around that. Maybe they wear a hood while they're travelling, that sort of thing.
Or they might have their mate with them, a little donkey.
Yes, a little goat or something. But yeah, I mean, horses now, like, they fly all over the world. I mean, I'm sure Michael will know more about that than I do.
And, when they fly, I don't even think that they know what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, apart from the taking off and landing, it's much more turbulence, stopping, starting, going around bends. If you're actually in a horse box, they're just flying along, eating their hay. I don't even think they realise where they are.
So you're suggesting horses get seasickness? Is that what
they may do?
Yeah.
Yes, they may do. Bob Ollinger, Lizzie, do we give him a chance?
Not for me. I think the reason that he won last year was just pure talent from Rachel Blackmore. I think that she was the person, she was how that horse won last year.
She's a star, eh?
I thought her ride on him was just absolutely amazing. He's a quicker horse than Tia Hoopu, and she played him for that. And this is a really open race. I've gone over it quite a few times and haven't really come to a committed conclusion, because I think that it's really open and the market keeps moving a little bit as well underneath Tia Hoopu's the favourite.
What about Honest Policy?
He's not for me, Al. I don't really like him, if I'm honest. He hasn't done enough, but I do like Cabral de Mathan. He, to me, has a lot of speed.
Rupert, you're shaking your head.
I'm just thinking we're going to agree again.
Oh, right, yeah, no. Well,
Sorry.
I really like him. He's got a lot of speed. I think if they didn't have the new line in the Champion Hurdle, they'd have gone Champion Hurdle route. I personally think they would have done. But I don't know that. I was just guessing. And I think what they'll do...
You are Harry's PR.
Yeah, but we don't talk... You have to compartmentalise.
Okay.
And I think that they'll ride him at the back and they'll just hope that they can play him for speed like Rachel did with Bob Ollinger last year.
So pick-wise, star pick and then each way good value, Lizzie.
Yeah, well, I have gone for Tia Hoopu, so slightly.
You have?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have as my pick.
What price will it be at?
I've absolutely no idea.
Rupert, you're the gambling man.
Right, probably round about the 2-to-1, 5-to-2, 3-to-1 chance. Because as Lizzie was saying, an open race.
Yeah.
And then my value pick was Cabral de Mathan, but he's not really much value at the moment.
Okay, Rupert.
I'm going for Cabral de Mata. I think the race seems to be...
Why?
Because the race seems to be... There are question marks, but this horse is improving. And I do think he has a touch of class. And having been to Skelton's Yard, the horse looked an absolute picture. And I do think Bob Ollinger is my... Not huge each-way value, but I think the consistency again at Cheltenham doesn't seem to run a bad race. So I'm sticking with Bob.
Dan's done... He's been brilliant since he's gone on his own. You know, I don't know how many years it is now, but fantastic. I love listening to him as well. I think he's so knowledgeable.
He's got so many chances. You know, we talked about the Champion Hurdle. Now he's got this. He's got Grey Dawning Gold Cup. You name it. He's going to have a big week, and I hope Cabral de Mata will do it. But Bob Ollinger might be coming up the hill.
Michael, are you with Bob?
I am. Yeah, my win bet is Bob. He's getting on in years, but I'm told he's still in great form. And my each way would be Marchand too.
Now, I want to get everyone's thoughts on the Arkle. Don't forget, it's day one. Are you looking past Lulamba, Michael?
Yes, I am.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't fancy Lulamba. I fancy... I'm not sure his form is as strong as... I mean, what good horses has he beat? Not too many.
Lizzie,
Not
I don't
too
think
many.
Lizzie agrees with you here.
That's fine. We will see on Tuesday. I'm a Copec de Boards fan, and I think he'll win.
Okay, Rupert.
Well, I'm in the Copec de Board camp. I think...
She's rolling her eyes at you as well.
Well, she does that every
She's
day.
rolling her eyes at everyone.
Yeah, we haven't
You're a
seen...
Villa fan, Rupert. You're just copying everything Michael does. Come on, have your own view, please.
I can promise you, Michael and I have not had a chat beforehand, neither have Lizzie and I.
Hello, Fibber. I saw you up there having a sandwich and a coffee.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about the Arkle. We were talking about his flat horses more to the point, and what touch he's going to be landing at Royal Ascot with one of his horses in one of the handicaps. But for me, Lulamba, I think there are question marks. Copec de Board has a touch of class, and I think the other horse I think in the race, I know Michael mentioned with regard to the Queen Mother, but I'm hearing strong words about Irish Panther, and I think they might go the Arkle route, and I think could be value. But Copec de Board, I think has got a really good chance.
Why did they leave it so late, Lizzie, to declare?
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? Because it would be quite...
Anti-post, you know, it's difficult for the punter.
I think it is. I think they should start contemplating bringing it further forward, whether even if... I know it's 48-hour decks, isn't it?
It's 48.
But I mean, why not make it 72? But not that would help us today.
Romeo Coolio. Now that sounds a bit of Europe on the dance floor.
Those days are long gone, Alan, a bit like yours when it comes to showing their moves on the dance floor. Romeo Coolio was very... I just think it might have been a tough race at the DRF. And because that ground was, as Lizzie alluded to earlier, you know, they were sloshing through it. And it's a tough old race. And to come again, you know, you've got to peak at the right time. So I think there are question marks there. That's why I think Copec de Boards is maybe...
Michael, Romeo, would he come
Oh, I mean, you've got to admire him, haven't you? What a horse. I know the owner quite well. I played golf with him about a month ago. He's a character as well. Yes, you can't rule him out. I mean, is it going to be is 2 miles going to be too sharp for him, Lizzie?
Maybe. I think my problem with him is I think he's had a very, very good season, but when you look at him, he's very weak. And I just think I'm not sure I'd put him in that arena just yet. I think I'd be really happy with the season I've had. He's very lopsided. You know, his hind end is much, much weaker than his front end. And that's not really ideal for a chaser. I would put him away now and I'd come back next year. But if he runs, you know, he's of course he's got a chance because he's got talent. But I do think it's Lulamba versus Copec de Board. Copec de Board, we have seen him over fences once. You are going to be backing him on the basis of what he achieved last season, which was a lot, and he looked very special in the Supreme last year. Lulamba, for me, has proved himself against other novices, and he's proved himself against open company, and he's proved himself in ground he hates, and he's still managed to go away and win those races. And I think He's a very, very special individual. I think he's an absolute shoo-in. And I don't normally feel as cut and dry about that, because I always think things change. But I think that he's seriously smart.
I think I'm with Lulamba. The last time I watched him, I was very impressed. So I think that'd be my pick. So your pick, Lizzie, and your value.
I'm actually feeling so bullish that I would say that Lulamba is my win and value bet.
Really?
Because I think that Kopek de Board is going to continue to shorten, and I think that Lulamba's you're going to get a nice price for him.
Rupert?
Well, I'm going
Not saying
to...
a lot. You're very quiet in this one.
Well, I haven't been allowed to get a word in edgeways, but you know, I'm putting my head above the parapet here. I'm going for Kopek de Board. I know we're taking a bit on trust, but I'm going for that. And then also Irish Panther, I think, is slightly overpriced, has run well, and there's some very optimistic noises coming from the team in Ireland. The Harty team, father was the great Eddie Harty, who won the Grand National, was an Olympic rider. So they're a smaller team in comparison to the others, but I think that's why it might be a decent price.
Michael?
Kopek de Board's for me to win a Mullins 1-2, I think. I'm going to go for Carjess to be the value.
Are you? Okay. Right, I must... my favourite of all is day one, when the tapes go up, the roar. It's just magical, isn't it? You know, I think the gates open 10:30 now, don't they? They sprint into the old Guinness Village. They get a few down them. When them tapes go up, fantastic. And the big question is, Old Park Star. Can he get us off to a flyer? Lizzie?
I think so. He's won at Cheltenham
Around
already.
5-2, I think.
Yeah, he's won at Cheltenham already. He was a Grade 2 winner up at Haydock. He's been front running, and I think they've kind of done that, not out of the fact that that's what he wants, but more out of the fact that everything he's running against is not up to his standards, so they're just keeping things simple. The question you could say is that we've not really seen him get into a battle with someone else because he's been too
That
good.
Yeah.
And I really, really like him. I think Nicky Henderson's been quite bullish about him. There are others in there, Mighty Park. I think that no, I just don't like him. And then Talk the Talk. I think the ground would be too quick for him. The danger for me is El Kairos.
Yeah, I've had talk the talk for me is the danger. But you think it'll be too quick? Rupert, you were saying you think it'll be good to soft.
I think we'll probably be on the soft side of good.
And I think he wants sort of heavier ground.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Rupert, what about the first race then?
Sneaking regard for the Philip Hobbs and Johnson Whitehorse Sober Glory. I think might be an each way good thing in that race. It's very open. Okay, the Old Park Star clearly has very good credentials coming to the race. But
Great race, isn't it?
And
throws up some great horses.
And just when are you running to the Guinness tent? Is that at 10 o'clock or are those running days behind you?
I'm slowing up now, 12 minutes past 10.
Okay, fine. That's very well, it still might be first. But anyway, I think Sober Glory, that seems to be an appropriate name, Alan, actually, for a horse in the first. But I'm going to go for Sober Glory each way.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean, Old Park Star looks to have the best chance, of course, but around 9-4, 5-2, I think it's quite short personally. So I'm going to go against Lizzie and say Mighty Park.
Mighty Park. What about, we're going to have a break, what about just any other horses, standout naps that is going to carry your colours and money?
I'm going to go for a Katira for Dan Skelton's. I think it's in what was I think it's now the long distance cup, or it was the Coral Cup.
Rupert, you know, our listeners.
Well, but it's called the Cup now.
The right knee's down. I think.
Well, because it's a race has changed its name, right?
What's the horse, sorry?
Katira.
All right.
Katira is the one, and I think the value may have gone, but Dan was very bullish. Thinks he's got one under the handicap radar.
Does he?
Yeah.
Lizzie?
I like Meet Me by the Sea, who was so well handicapped last year he didn't get in.
What race, excuse me?
This is in the Jack Richards Novice Chase on day 3. It's Grade 1. I think that there's loads to like about him. He's been quietly working away. We last saw him running in the race behind Lulamba, and he's just sort of tinkering away in the background, getting some experience. He actually gets a little bit of weight off quite a lot of the other runners in the race. And another one I like is Johnny Who in the Ultima.
John O'Neill?
Yes, for JP.
Yeah.
They've got 2 high-profile JP horses running in that race, Jaguar and Iroko. But I actually think that it's Johnny who's got the best handicap mark.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm going for Woodhoo in the Mares Hurdle. Obviously won last year. Lossiemouth might run in that race, and obviously it looks to be a bit of a head-to-head between them, but I would be going for Gordon Elliot's charge.
Yeah, brilliant. Rupert, just one last one. Paul Nicholls, you've not really mentioned Paul, have you? Had a chance to chat to Paul?
Well, he's not without a chance with the
handicaps.
Well, no, he's got one in the What's the name's something?
Oh, it's called. Hang on.
Well,
it's called No Drama This End.
No Drama This End. Thank you very much.
Thank God you're here. Thank God you're here.
You should see when we're commentating, she's pointing like this as I try and the old grey cells
Honestly,
again.
he called me Dave when I walked in here this morning. He's losing it.
Anyway, No Drama This End is the one he'll be talking up. And he's also supplemented the horse for the Champion Hurdle in Tutti Quanti. So he wouldn't be doing that if he just thought he was going to make up the numbers. So he's lost some of his lustre, but he's as competitive trainer as there out there, and he will not want to be far away. So No Drama This End is the one that he'll be putting a lot of hopes on come next week.
Michael, will you get down there every day? I know you're a busy man with football, the Premier League and stuff. Will you get there every day, plus your own horses to look after?
I will be there on the Thursday. We tend to host about 80 to 100 of our clients on the Friday for the Gold Cup. We have a lounge there at Manor House, so we'll be hosting for the Gold Cup, and I think I'll be wandering around my local city, Chester, on the Tuesday and Wednesday, watching it from a few different pubs and bars and things like that.
When's the first meeting there? Is it May?
May, 6th, 7th, 8th.
It's like...
Yeah.
Sorry, we're on to the flat
That's
now.
his Cheltenham. Okay, that's the big
Cheltenham.
one for the locals. You know, it's great fun meeting, but you've got to get people to get through Cheltenham, Aintree, before we even think about Chester.
And the Craven meeting. Okay, time now for the Ladbrokes Horse Racing Bet Builder. You can pick out your favourite markets like place, distance and winner and add them all into one bet. So Rupert and Lizzie, as the two voices of horse racing on talkSPORT, give us your Cheltenham Bet Builders, starting with someone who knows what she's talking about, Lizzie.
Okay, so I'm going to go for Lulamba to win the Arkle by 3+ lengths, beating Steel Ally.
Ooh. Okay, so Lulamba to win the Arkle by 3 or more lengths, with Steel Ally to finish in the top 3 was 12-1, which you can now get. We'll throw in 14-1 for you. Now, Rupert, what about you?
Well, you obviously don't have any respect for my selection here, given the introduction.
Yeah, but the punters might.
Oh, well, yeah, well, I'm sure they do.
I
Anyway.
don't. They may.
Okay, well, the punters out there, if you must, it's Cabral de Mathin to win the Stairs Hurdle by 3 lengths with Bob Ollinger to come to be placed. So that's my bet builder. Fingers crossed.
Okay, Rupert's Bet Builder, there you go. So Cabra de Mathin to win the Stairs by 3 or more lengths. Bob Ollinger to finish in the top 3. That was 14-1. Now we've boosted that for you to 16s. Those offers are available over at ladbrokes.com till Sunday before the final decks, 18+, gambleaware.org. And good luck. Right, that's everything you need to know and more getting into this year's festival. Thanks to Michael, Owen, Lizzie and Rupert. And thanks you for watching the Cheltenham Preview with talkSPORT, sponsored by Ladbrokes. Download the Ladbrokes app for all your Cheltenham needs. Have a great week and good luck.